there is a quiet moment many people experience that they never talk about. It usually happens when you're alone, not during a crisis, not during a breakdown, just a normal moment. You open your phone, you scroll without thinking, and suddenly you see it, someone your age, announcing something big, a milestone, a win, a life update, and without meaning to, your chest tightens, not because you're jealous, not because you want their life, but because a question rises inside you, slow and heavy. Why? Am I not there yet? You don't panic, you don't react, you keep scrolling, but something inside you quietly shifts. And the more you see, the louder that inner comparison becomes. They're moving forward, they're progressing, they're arriving. And you start measuring your life against timelines you never agreed to, but somehow feel bound by this age. I should have figured it out by now. Something should have changed. If I was really doing things right, wouldn't I be further? This is not a loud anxiety. It's subtle, persistent, tiring. It follows you into your thoughts at night. It shows up when things go quiet. It makes waiting feel heavier than it should. And here is what makes this feeling so isolating. You can't name it clearly enough to share it. You can't point to a specific failure. You can't explain why this quiet ache has settled in your chest. When on paper, your life looks fine, and the most painful part is this: you don't even know what you're waiting for anymore. You just know it feels late, late compared to others, late compared to expectations, late compared to who you thought you would be by now. So you replay moments, decisions you made, opportunities you hesitated on, paths you didn't take, and slowly, delay starts to feel personal. Like maybe you missed something. Like maybe God moved and you didn't. Like maybe if you had been more attentive, more faithful, more ready, things would be different now. This thought can settle in so quietly that you don't even realize it's become a belief that says, I am behind because I did something wrong. And once that belief takes root, it colors everything. Your prayers become apologies. Your hope becomes tinged with guilt. Your waiting becomes something you feel ashamed of, instead of something you're learning from. But listen carefully. The feeling of being late does not come from reality. It comes from pressure created by constant comparison, pressure created by watching other people's highlights, while living in your own in-between, pressure created by a world that rewards speed and visibility over depth and intention. Comparison does not tell you the truth about your life. It only tells you how visible someone else's progress is, and visibility is not the same as substance. Announcement is not the same as arrival. A public moment is not the full story. What you see in a post is the peak of someone's mountain. You don't see the years they spent climbing, the setbacks they endured, the moments they almost gave up. And when you compare long enough, your mind begins to lie to you. It tells you that waiting equals failure, that stillness means stagnation, that quiet seasons mean God has forgotten. But that is not how timing works, and that is not how God works. Here is the truth that rarely gets said. Most people who feel behind are not failing. They are transitioning. They are between versions of themselves, between what they were and what they are becoming. And that in-between space feels uncomfortable because it has no applause, no clear markers, no external validation, just growth happening quietly, where no one can see it, where even you can't always see it, And because you can't see it, you start to doubt it's happening at all. You wonder if you're moving at all, or just standing still while everyone else moves past you. But invisible growth is still growth. The roots of a tree grow deep underground, long before anything breaks. The surface, and if you dig it up too early to check on the roots, you damage what was forming. The seed doesn't apologize for germinating in darkness. It doesn't question whether it's taking too long. It simply does what it was designed to do, hidden. From view, preparing for emergence. You are not late because you ignored God. You are not late because you lacked faith. You are not late because you weren't capable. Sometimes the reason you feel behind is because you are being kept from arriving too early. And arriving too early can be far more damaging than arriving late. But right now, you don't feel protected. Feel pressured. You feel like time is moving without you, like opportunities are closing, like the world is leaving you behind. And pressure makes waiting feel like something is wrong. In the next part, I want to show you why delay feels so much like failure, and why that feeling is misleading you. Because once you understand this, something inside you begins to soften, and the question, "What's wrong with me?" is replaced with something much gentler, something truer. The reason delay hurts so deeply is not because time is passing. It's because your mind has been taught to interpret waiting as loss. From a very young age, you were trained to believe that progress must be visible, that growth must be measurable, that if something is not moving forward, it must be stuck. This is what the world teaches. Productivity equals worth. Output equals value. Speed equals success. The world celebrates the quick win, the rapid transformation, the overnight success. It doesn't celebrate the slow unfolding, the patient endurance, the quiet faithfulness that happens when no one is watching. And so when your life slows down, your mind doesn't see rest or preparation. It sees danger. It asks questions like, what if this is as far as I go? What if everyone else is moving on without me? What if I wasted my chance? What if I'm being left behind while everyone else finds their place? These questions come from a place of genuine concern. They're not irrational. They're the mind, trying to make sense of uncertainty. And once those thoughts settle in, waiting starts to feel like evidence. Evidence that you failed. Evidence that you missed it. Evidence that something went wrong. But here is what most people never realize. Your mind is not reacting to time. It is reacting to uncertainty. The human brain is uncomfortable with open endings. It wants closure. It wants confirmation. It wants to know how the story turns out. It wants to be able to categorize your current season. Success or failure. Forward or backward. Progress or stagnation. And when the future stays quiet for too long, the brain fills in the silence with fear. It doesn't say, maybe this is intentional. It says, something is wrong. This is why delay feels personal, not because it is, but because uncertainty triggers self-blame. You start assuming that if progress hasn't arrived, it must be your fault. Maybe you didn't pray enough. Maybe you hesitated too long. Maybe you weren't bold when you should have been. Maybe you missed the moment when God was speaking. Maybe you weren't faithful enough, passionate enough, committed enough. But that line of thinking is deeply flawed because it assumes God works on pressure timelines, and He doesn't. God does not move to relieve your anxiety. He moves to protect your future. Sometimes the delay is not about what you asked for at all. It's about who you would have become if it arrived too early. If everything you wanted had come when you first asked, you might not have been ready to carry it. Not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually. You would have blamed yourself for not being able to handle the weight of it. You would have wondered why something you prayed for felt so heavy. You would have questioned whether you heard God correctly, and that would have hurt far more than waiting ever could. Delay feels like failure when you believe success must arrive quickly to be valid. But timing is not a reward system. It's a safety system. What feels like being held back is often being held together. And here is something that is difficult to accept, but freeing once you do. Some versions of success are real, but they are not right for you yet. You didn't miss them. You were protected from them, because success without readiness doesn't bless you. It overwhelms you, and God does not rush people into outcomes that would cost them their peace. So if you feel delayed, ask yourself this gently: what have I learned in this quiet season that I never would have learned if life moved faster? What parts of me grew stronger while nothing seemed to change? What patterns broke because I had time to notice them? What truths did I discover about myself in the waiting that I would have bypassed in the rushing? What did I learn about God's character when I couldn't see His hand? Waiting is not empty. It is active, even when it feels still. And once you understand this, the narrative begins to shift. Delay stops looking like rejection and starts looking like preparation. In the next part, I want to show you something even deeper, not just why delay happens, but what God is actively protecting you from by allowing it. Because once you see that, the pressure you've been carrying begins to loosen, and the question, why is this taking so long, starts turning into something far more peaceful, something far more hopeful. There are things you are asking for now that would have broken you before, not because you were weak, not because you lacked faith, but because you were still becoming. Earlier versions of you were still learning how to listen to yourself, still learning when to say no, still learning the difference between approval and alignment, still learning that not every open door is meant for you to walk through. If certain doors had opened earlier, you might have walked through them without discernment. You would have taken on weight you weren't meant to carry yet. You would have mistaken pressure for purpose. You would have confused busyness with meaning. And you would have paid for it later, not immediately, but slowly, in ways that are harder to undo, in exhaustion you couldn't explain, in resentment toward what you once wanted, in a hollowness that comes from achieving something before you had the depth to appreciate it. God does not delay out of indifference. He delays out of understanding. He sees the full picture, not just the moment you're in, but the version of you that must exist to survive what's coming next. Some opportunities look like blessings, but they arrive carrying expectations you weren't ready to manage. Some successes arrive demanding a level of emotional strength you are still developing. Some relationships arrive asking for a version of you that didn't exist yet. So God waits, not to test you, not to frustrate you, but to protect you. You may see delay as lost time. God sees delay as preserved strength, because what comes too early often takes more than it gives. If you had received everything you wanted before healing, it would have magnified wounds you were still trying to ignore. If you had received influence before identity, you might have tied your worth to attention instead of truth. If you had received responsibility before rest, you might have burned out before you ever understood why you were tired. If you had received wealth before wisdom, you might have spent it on things that fed your insecurities instead of your purpose. If you had received partnership before wholeness, you might have asked another person to complete what only God could heal. God does not rush people into seasons they are not yet ready to survive. That is not punishment. That is care. That is love. Acting with foresight. Sometimes the delay is not teaching patience. It is preventing future pain, pain that would not show up immediately, pain that would appear later when it would be harder to walk away, harder to recover, harder to start again. And here is something important to understand. You are not stagnant in this season. You are being formed, quietly, subtly, in ways that don't show up on timelines or announcements. Your discernment sharpened, your boundaries strengthened, your awareness deepened, your capacity expanded. You learned how to sit with yourself without distraction. You learned how to endure uncertainty without collapsing. You learned the sound of your own voice beneath the noise of everyone else's expectations. You learned that your value doesn't depend on your productivity. These are not small things. These are foundations. And foundations are laid slowly because they must last. You are not the same person you were when you first asked for this. You carry more wisdom now, more restraint, more clarity, more peace in the midst of uncertainty. God did not ignore your request. He aligned it with your growth. So when you feel late, consider this. You are not behind schedule. You are in alignment. And alignment always matters more than speed. In the final part, I want to help you release the pressure you've been carrying, because peace doesn't come from everything arriving at once. It comes from trusting that when it arrives, you will be ready to receive it without losing yourself. There is a moment when pressure begins to lose its grip on you, not because everything suddenly works out, not because answers appear overnight, but because something inside you finally slows down. You stop racing invisible clocks. You stop measuring your life against someone else's pace. You stop asking yourself why you are not further along by now. And in that quiet release, peace begins to settle, not the kind of peace that comes from certainty, but the kind that comes from trust. Trust that your story is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust that nothing has been wasted. Trust that the delay was never a denial, just a redirection toward something better. You realize you don't need to force what is meant to unfold. You don't need to rush what is still aligning. You don't need to prove that your timing is valid, because the right timing does not come with panic. It comes with calm. What arrives too early demands urgency. What arrives at the right time brings steadiness. That is how you know. The season you are in right now is not asking you to hurry. It is asking you to stay present, to breathe, to rest your nervous system, to stop preparing for something that is not yet here, to be fully where you are, not halfway into an imagined future. You are not losing time. You are being prepared to receive without fear, without scrambling, without losing yourself in the process. And when the moment comes, it will not feel chaotic. It will not feel overwhelming. It will feel settled, like coming home after a long journey, like receiving something you've always been meant to hold, because what God brings at the right time fits into your life instead of consuming it. It enhances who you are instead of eclipsing it. It adds to your peace instead of demanding it. So if you feel pressure right now, let this truth meet you gently. You do not need to rush. You do not need to catch up. You do not need to be anywhere other than where you are. You are not behind. You are becoming, and becoming takes time, not because God is slow, But because transformation is precise, nothing in your life has been wasted. Nothing has been delayed without purpose. Every quiet moment has shaped you. Every slow season has strengthened you. Every pause has protected you. Every unanswered prayer has redirected you towards something your past self couldn't yet see. So release the pressure. Let go of the timelines that were never yours to begin with. Let go of the belief that delay equals failure. Let go of the need to prove that you are enough by arriving somewhere before you're ready. You are not running out of time. You are moving in step with it. And if this message brought calm to your heart, stay here. You don't need to rush away. You are exactly where you need to be, and you are right on time.